As you know, I have a lot of smartphones and good camera-centric smartphones for taking photos, but also videos. And at one point I was asking myself, which of those smartphones takes the best video? Which of those smartphones I can use and rely on for taking my YouTube videos, for example, or family occasions, family travels, and so on. So in this video, I'll answer the question, which of those smartphones that I have has the best video performance. So let's get started. Let us first talk about the criteria. And the first criteria that we want to talk about is like you put your smartphone out of your pocket and want to start as quickly as possible because a rabbit is just passing by. You want to take a video. How fast can you do it? I'm recording right now, if you noticed that. The Sony Xperia has a dedicated button for starting the camera applications. The only thing they have to do is like switching to video and then hit the button again to start recording. Other devices have the possibility to just use the power button and double tap to open up the camera, or use the volume down key, which is also working pretty fine. So this first criteria, I think all of them fit those criteria because they have this possibility. With some exceptions, like some Honor phones, for example, don't have the possibility yet. It is coming with macOS 8. Nevertheless, let's talk about criteria number 2. When you start shooting like this, you don't set up anything. So most of the time you're shooting fully automatic. That means no custom white balance, no shutter speed that you set or other settings that you have done. So let's check out which of those smartphones performs best when it comes to the default video settings, and especially also with human subjects, because most of the time you're filming human subjects and not rabbits that are passing by. I just see one. Let's check out how they perform on human subjects like myself. So here's the scenario. I took various different videos in different conditions, mainly indoors because outdoors was bad weather. And I took screenshots from those various different camera smartphones and put them side by side so you can check them out. Later on, I put some other smartphones and some other things there as well to compare a little bit more there. But first start with the window and indoor situation. So basically we have a window on my right that's illuminating my face, shining onto my face, and I have a darker kind of background there with a little bit of a black kind of cupboard in the background. So let's take a look at the overview first, and let you choose the one that you think looks best here in this little overview. I know it's a little bit of a cramped overview of 6 different camera smartphones. You can see the names there as well, but if you don't look at the names, just look at the performance. Which one would you choose for the one that you want to choose your or make your YouTube video with the default settings? You can see the scenario is basically the same. There's a slightly different angle there, maybe, but not much of a difference. So what we have here, I can tell you immediately the ones that I would rule out: the Vivo X100 Pro, the Find X7 Ultra as well, the Nubia Z60 Ultra, and the Mate X3 I would rule out. So it would be between the Xiaomi 14 and the Xperia 1 Mark 5. Why is that the case? You can see the face color is a bit wrong on the Vivo X100 Pro. The Xiaomi looks warmish enough. It's a bit over sharpened for sure. The Nubia is overexposed. The same with the Mate X3, which is overexposed and has a bit of weird colors with HDR going on there. The Find X7 Ultra looks a bit grayish, like a gray filter on my face. The Xperia 1 Mark 5 would be, I think, okay in terms of colors. It's a slightly overexposed on my face, as you can see, and I look a bit lifeless there. So probably I would go with the Xiaomi 14 here. Let's check out those in the close-up. And this is quite interesting. If you go in the close-up, what we will see here on the Find X7 Ultra is that it has a bit of sharpening things up, but it's not too much over sharpened, I would say. What do you think? And I think in this scenario it doesn't look so bad, does it? So it keeps the shadows there. It's like not overblowing the highlights. So this is why it's like a little bit flat looking for sure. And it's not having too much contrast, but it's not having like too less contrast there. So it is an okay kind of photo there, okay kind of video that it took. Mate X3, like you can see also in the thumbnail, it has a little bit of an overexposure. Actually, it's not really overexposed, it's just very bright there, this spot, and it's evening out the whole contrasty situation on my face. So this HDR is like overdoing it. It's smoothing out my face, as you can see here, all the little yeah, dips and nits and things that I have in my face is like gone completely. It is like overexposing my face in a weird situation, but also the background is like overexposed a little bit there. And yeah, it's sharpening things up a little bit, but it's not sharpening up to oblivion. I think it's quite the opposite. It's like trying to sharpen up, but it's quite soft in this regard, where it's like compensating some issues with the lens probably. Then the Nubia Z60 Ultra, here you can see it is also sharpening things up. It's not so sharp. It's a bit wide, a bit further away because I have like 18 millimeters on the ultra wide angle. I'm cropping in with 24, so I have the same kind of angle of view. You can see it's maybe not overexposed completely, but it's trying its best there, but it's very, very bright here. It's also evening out the shadows there on my face, which is a strong HDR algorithm that we have here. We have a bit of noise creeping in already. It might be also the sharpening because of, like I said, it's cropping in from 18 to 24 millimeters. And yeah, it is yeah, a typical smartphone kind of look that you have with a little bit over sharpened character. Let's take a look at the Vivo X100 Pro. And on this, it doesn't look too bad, I have to tell you. It's not overdoing it with the sharpness there. It is adding the right amount of sharpness, but it's not having this typical, this is a smartphone over-sharpening kind of look. But the face color is a bit wrong. It keeps the shadows there, but here you can see, I think this is now overexposed here, the side. It's really like clipping, I think, or very, very short of clipping. But it's also evening out the shadows here a little bit too much, I would say. It keeps a bit of the shadows in there, but evening it out. And I think the face color, it's a bit reddish here. You be the judge. I don't like the shot. I look like ugly in this shot, I have to say. Xiaomi 14 now. And what you see immediately is where I thought the Xiaomi 14 might be the better candidate here. It's obliviously over-sharpened and looking processed somehow. So you can see it on my hair there. Maybe it's the bokeh as well. There's a bit of noise creeping in as well. The colors, like, it looks like a little bit like maybe also overexposed there, or very, very hard to clip. It keeps a little bit more of the shadows there. It doesn't have this kind of too much reddish kind of look that I had on the Vivo. It looks a bit more natural in terms of face color, I think, to me. Even though it's like towards the warmish kind of tone, and we had like a cloudy day, so it shouldn't be that warm. But it looks like a bit sharpened up. Here it's a bit softer, but the hair is sharpened, so it's like zone sharpening or something like this, which is a bit weird looking in my opinion. And then we have the Xperia Mark V, and I think this one did the best. You can see it did the best in terms of colors, because yes, it's a bit slightly overexposed maybe. Well, it's keeping it actually. Keeps the shadows there in a natural kind of way. It's a bit, a bit of a different angle, but still, nevertheless, it's comparable there. And the softness, it's not like overdoing it, I think, with sharpness, which is quite good. It's giving us more something that you get from cameras, from DSLMs if you record video. It's not over sharpening everything to oblivion, which is quite natural. So actually on second inspection, because the Xiaomi is doing a little bit, I think I like the color still a bit better on the Xiaomi, giving me a bit warmer tone, but it's overdoing it with the sharpness. So out of this, all of them, probably I would take the Xperia and maybe make it slightly warmer there, so that this like a little bit too whitish kind of face goes away there. What is your opinion? And now let's take a look at how other cameras do it. It's another day, so it's the same window, and it was also cloudy, but it might be some kind of difference. This is why I'm doing this. And I was maybe also a bit cheating, because I took the Magic 5 Pro. Honor has, for the high-class flagships, besides the video mode, a movie mode, and this movie mode by default using the classic LUT. It has an automatic chooser, but most of the time it's using classic LUT. And I would put it in here as well, because I think it has a valid point, because it's also very easy. Instead of video mode, you just go to movie mode then, which is like one step further, and then point and shoot. It's still valid. This one should give you more like of a cinematic kind of mood, and I think it's doing it quite well. So we have this bit of desaturated but also decontrasted look in the background, so this looks fairly realistic when I take a look at my cupboard there in the background. And also I think it is doing the face color right in a way. keeps the shadows in, keeps my little imperfections in, but it's not over sharpening my face too much as others do. So it's like very similar to the Sony one in this case. And yeah, I think this one probably looks the best. Then we take a look at an older DSLM camera. This is the Fuji X70. As you can see here, this struggles a little bit there in video mode because it's like only full HD, so it's quite soft already. But I'm talking more about the colors. I think it did the best in terms of face colors. So it's not overexposing too much here. It's keeping the shadows in there. Maybe a bit too much contrasty look that we have here because we have film filters or film simulations built into this camera. And I was using, I think, the soft film simulation here. And this one has a little bit more of this kind of contrasty look. But nevertheless, I think this one also looks quite good. You can write down in the comment section which one of you of those you think is the best. I can show you the overview of those 6 mainly that I'm using here to compare. And on second inspection, yeah, I think here Xperia 1 Mark V, Xiaomi 14 Pro, 14 Pro probably the same. Then maybe the Find X7 Ultra. Then Mate X3, then Nubia, and then the Vivo I would choose here. Because the Vivo, I don't think the Vivo has weird colors in my opinion. That looks a bit weird. You can tell me in the comments what you think about this. Maybe you choose the Vivo and tell me why. Let's take another scenario here. Indoors 2. Had my daughter, carrying my daughter there as well. We just had to blur her out so you don't see her face. Nevertheless, let's take a look at the colors here, and this is the first overview again. Which one you think performed best? Immediately I can rule out the Xiaomi, which is like totally flat looking. I'm not sure what's going on, and a bit weird kind of face color there. The Nubia is doing much better, I would say, there in this case scenario. The Vivo, what's wrong with the Vivo? It has like high contrast. All the imperfections are boosted in my face somehow. It's a bit yellowish all over the place there. Find X7 Ultra looks okay, I would say, from the face colors. Yeah, it's a bit reddish, but it's okay. It's a bit, yeah, sharpened up, I guess. So if you take a look at and compare it with the Xperia Pro I, yes, I switched the camera to the Xperia Pro I just to show you the performance with the Xperia 1 Mark V and Xperia Pro I is almost the same, but just to switch it around a little bit. And the same goes for the Huawei device. I switched to the Mate 60 Pro. The Mate 60 Pro totally red. I don't know what's going on here with my face color. I think the sharpness is fine, looks okay, but it's totally red, and also the background looks weird. Yeah, let's just jump into the details again. Find X7 Ultra. I think the Find X7 Ultra did a good job. It's a bit contrasty, this look here. It's a bit over sharpened again on my face there, I would say. And some of the imperfections are like boosted a little bit. Let's check out the Mate 60 Pro. We saw already it's very red. It's not over sharpening too much, I would say there, but it's very red. This kind of, I don't like this look, I have to say. It's a bit darkish, dullish look. Nubia Z60 Ultra, when I go into the full screen, it looks, first of all, it is like the crop probably in this darker kind of scenario, and the noise that is creeping in that you will get there. The details are lost. It's quite soft and noisy, and it's overexposed a little bit, I would say. So this is like not so good. So yeah, I rate this even worse than the Mate. The Vivo X100 Pro, as you can see here, it's razor sharp, which is like interesting. I don't know if you like it, but the sharpness maybe is okay. The contrast maybe a bit tad too much. You can see all the little imperfections of my skin are shown. I boosted. Like I had this on television once when I had my television and someone was playing around with the sharpness, and every face looked like the people are ill or something like this, or super old, because all the little imperfections are like boosted and sharpened up to oblivion. And I have this feeling when I look at this Vivo X100 Pro picture here, and I don't look that ugly, I can tell you, in person. So I think it is overdoing it with the sharpness and contrast here on the Vivo X100 Pro. Otherwise it's okay, nice background blur as well. Xiaomi 13 Ultra, what's going on here? So I would rate, like I said, the last place the Nubia, then maybe this here, Xiaomi 13 Ultra, because it didn't even get the colors right. Everything's like no contrast at all, and soft it's okay, I think. It doesn't show so much imperfections, but yeah. Nubia last place, Xiaomi 13 Ultra, then I think the Mate 60 Pro, and then the Vivo X100 Pro, because the Mate 60 Pro is like, maybe I can soften up the look on the Vivo X100 Pro, but the Mate 60 Pro is like too much red there. I don't know how to fix this in post. And then the Xperia Pro I, and soft, very soft there, I have to say, in comparison with all the other ones. Maybe I was moving there as well when I took this screenshot of the video. It's soft, it's a bit reddish there as well, I have to say. But it's okay. Okay, kind of a shot. Let's check out again the other day, next day, same kind of light situation that we had. The Magic 5 Pro. I think the Magic 5 Pro did a nice job. Again, like you get this like a bit of movie mode, but with nice background blur, not so contrasty look in the background there, but still my face is sharp enough. It's not over sharpened, I would say. And the little imperfections, some of them are visible there, maybe a little bit too much there still. Let's compare it with the Fuji X70. Yes, Fuji X70 is soft in general, as I said, 1080p only. But I think the Fuji struggles with the noise already. There we have like, it's showing like the blues there. It's a bit yellowish as well there, and the film filter here. I don't like the Fuji, I have to say, in this regard. It's not super, it's not the best in terms of video, but some people are saying, the APS-C cameras, even older ones, are still better than smartphones for recording. And I used the Fuji X70 a long time for recording, and I don't think so. So, in general, choosing from those 6, which one would you choose? I would go with the Xperia Pro I. If I wouldn't have the Magic 5 Pro, probably Magic 5 Pro with the classic LUT I would take there. Otherwise, the Xperia Pro I. Then I think second spot with the X7 Ultra. Nubia being the worst. Mate 60 Pro not good. And the Vivo sharpness is there, but the automatic mode is, I think, destroying it with, I think, too much sharpness and too much contrast look. Otherwise, probably the optics are also the best on the Vivo X100 Pro, I think. Indoors, number 3. This is like moving a little bit further towards the window that is that I was walking there. So this was halfway the Indoors 2. Indoors 3 is like moving towards the window now, and then it should like darken the background a little bit, and my face is illuminating a little bit more because the sun is actually shining on my face. Let's take a look at all those 3, how they handle this kind of different light situation. And I can tell you immediately, and I don't want to bash Vivo because I like their photos, I like the way how it handles and the camera software. But what's wrong with the Vivo here? My face looks like I'm like painted. The colors are completely wrong. I'm not sure. It's like yellowish and weird, and my lips look weird, and I don't know what's wrong there with the Vivo. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra looks pleasant, I think. Even the Nubia Z60 Ultra, maybe a slightly bit, again, it's a Nubia issue there, overexposed again. Find X7 Ultra looks pretty good there. The Xperia Pro I looks a bit like the Find X7 Ultra desaturated and my face more white. I don't know why the Xperia Pro I wants to always make my face so white, because if I take a look at my skin color, even on my face, yes, I know there was not a lot of sunshine out there, but my face is usually not that white. And the Mate 60 Pro, again, is a bit reddish, more kind of tone, their color tone there. Looks like the Find X7 Ultra is like a slightly tuned Mate 60 Pro with a little bit less red and maybe a bit more contrast added. But let's take a look at them in the big picture. Find X7 Ultra first. I cannot say anything against it when you see it here. Think the colors are good, the contrast is okayish. I don't look too fake, I don't look too weird. I think the background has this nice, not only bokeh, but also the colors are getting a bit darker there. The only thing that maybe we can say is like a little bit like smartphone-y kind of look with around the eyebrows that are a bit sharpened up there. So maybe it's doing some algorithm there to sharpen things up there. And I went back one too far. Mate 60 Pro now. Mate 60 Pro, you can see when I go into full screen, red. the red kind of look that you have here. I didn't notice that in the past when I was doing videos with the Mate 60 Pro. Sometimes, yes, you have this red in this high contrast situations, but here it's doing it all the time if you compare it with all the other ones. And here I can see why people are saying your opinion of the Mate 60 Pro having such a good video is maybe wrong. So it's red, as you can see. It's also doing some weird thing with my eyebrows there and sharpening things up. It has also nice this black fall off there, but it's too red. It's definitely too red. It's not sharpening up to oblivion all the imperfections on my face, even I think smoothing out some of them, but it's too red, yeah. Nubia Z60 Ultra, yeah, again, it's sharpened up too much there. It's like I said, 18mm on the default lens for video. And I cropped it into 24, but just to make it like even out here with all the other ones. Otherwise, you would immediately notice the difference and it would cloud your judgment maybe. So it's a bit over sharpened there for sure. It's a bit overexposed, but I think the face color is okay. Face color is okay. I don't look ill. I don't look. It's just like smartphone kind of look, typical smartphone kind of look. Vivo X100 Pro, and here we can see even in this full up kind of, it is sharper than all the other ones. I think I have the feeling it's no, I don't have the feeling, I see it is sharper than all the other ones. But what happened to my face? A slightly of exposure here, yellow, red, lips exaggerated. I don't know what's going on here with the Vivo X100 Pro, I have to be totally honest. It's auto white balance, completely wrong. I really don't know what's going on there. Xiaomi 13 Ultra now, flat. Yeah, my first impression was like, it's quite okay, but here it's flat looking. It doesn't have this contrasty, too much contrasty look, which I usually like, but it's also looking flat and lifeless on my face a little bit there. Yeah, that's what kind of, nothing else I can say. Xperia Pro I also had in my first impression this like white kind of face. When I go here 100%, you see it's not white. It's not so white. It's a bit white. It's a bit bluish, a bit colder looking. The sun was out, but it was a gloomy day, so there was not like a yellow kind of sun that you usually have like in summer days or so. And so it can it can be explained there. It's a bit of reddish tones all over the place as well there. A bit of cool down. I think maybe the Xperia Pro I is the most realistic in this case of all the bunch there, because all the other ones try to warm up faces usually. Xperia doesn't do this so much. I also think the Xperia Pro I is not doing this over sharpening around my eyes and eyebrows and so on. So also doing a good job, but maybe I would warm up the colors a little bit there in this case. And now let's take again the Magic 5 Pro. It's another day, as I said, and not 100% the same kind of scenario. You have this desaturated background or de-contrasted background there as well. Foreground also a bit not so contrasty. I think the skin color looks, honestly speaking, the best still there. A bit closer up here, but still. Also my hair color is realistic. It is a little bit sharpening up, but it's quite soft all over the frame. So I like this the best, most cinematic looking, at least I would say. Most where the Xperia I would say most likely looking like a typical camera one. This one looks more like a typical cinema camera or something like this, with slightly maybe slightly over sharpened stuff. Fuji, as you can see, Fuji's background is darker, higher contrast there. I think the face color is similar, a little bit whitish there as well, as you can see, but a bit more warmish kind of tones there as well. And yeah, this one I think is one of the best shots, maybe the second best shot of that I got with the Fuji in terms of face colors here, that to my liking. Windows 4, let's take a look at another scenario now. Even lighted out face, so it's not like from the side coming up light on my face. It's just like I'm sitting basically in front of the window, slightly angled but in front of the window, and it's illuminating my face. It was the same day, a bit later, and we had a gloomy day, so no sun there in the background or something like this. So which one did the best there? This is like the perfect scenario, I think, for all of them, because it's like natural light illuminating my face on the subject. This is why I usually like to do those kind of shots in front of my window, because I have natural light illuminating my face, which looks always the best. Here you can see again how they perform. In general, I think this is the ideal situation for all of them, so they perform all probably the best. What can I say? What can you see is that on the bottom we have different color than on the top. On the top I think we have more yellowish, warmer kind of tones on my face, and in general warmer. We have a bit more coolish kind of faces on the bottom, and a bit more reddish again on the Mate X Pro. So we have, you can see it again, the sharpest probably the Vivo X100 Pro, but again with this little bit more red around my nose and so on. More yellowish kind of tone on the Xiaomi 14, most yellow there. The Nubia Z60 Ultra, again overexposed. Skin colors look like skin color, but a little bit overexposed maybe. And maybe something wrong with the colors there as well. Find X7 Ultra looks a bit pale there, but probably realistic. Has this a little bit more reddish. It's also a bit sharper than maybe the Nubia for sure, and maybe on the same level as the Xiaomi there. The Xperia 1 Mark 5 looks quite good there, I would say. I don't see so much over sharpening. I think my face looks pretty smooth there. Face color is okay, I would say. Contrast is okay. And again, yeah, Mate 60 Pro is a bit red. So let's check those out here. And yeah, this is the Find X7 Ultra. Like I said, first glance, I had the impression it's quite good. And I think also on second glance, it's quite good. Yes, I would still say the Find X7 is over sharpening my face a little bit. You can see it in the hair, you can see it here in my eyebrows. So this is for sure, it's a bit of reddish there, but it's not overdoing it with the reds there. I think it's okay. It's okay. Also the contrast, it's a bit slightly higher contrast that I would like there, but it's okay. Mate 60 Pro, again, as you see, very reddish kind of look, very warm kind of look in a way there. Yellowish and red there. A little bit like painted eyebrows, such things. Not over sharpening, smoothing out my face a little bit there. But the hair and some other things are a little bit sharpened up there. Otherwise, good look, just the color is a bit wrong there for sure. Then we have a Nubia Z60 Ultra, and this is completely overblown, as you see here again. I'm not sure why. Maybe we have for video mode to really do the exposure compensation a little bit down there, -1, -0.7, something like this. A little bit like noisy, as you can see again. It's a crop in, it's the 18mm. A bit yellowish there as well, and a bit bluish kind of tints here and there. Least amount of details because of all the noise there. It struggles a little bit there for sure in this kind of situation where it shouldn't. I saw and I hope to see a little bit better there on the Nubia. It's a little bit of a downfall there, yeah. Now the Vivo X100 Pro, and here again it is, I think, very sharp of a picture. It's sharpening things up nicely, my eyebrows and the hair as well, maybe as sharp as the Find X7 Ultra, maybe a bit more, I don't know. It's nice and sharp, but I think it's also not like looking too artificial in terms of sharpness there. But what I don't like is the little bit, again, too much contrast together with the sharpness, which like leads to these reddish and here a bit yellowish kind of underneath my mouth. I look ugly. I don't know. The Vivo X100 Pro makes me look ugly on video, which is like, I really don't know. You notice that doing the video, I always like was complaining about a bit too much contrast. I think it's like paired the too much contrast with the too much sharpening that they have here. So this is something that I don't like. Xiaomi 14. I also don't like. This one looks a bit weird in terms of HDR. You can see the colors are a bit weird here, a bit yellow there, a bit yellow there, a bit red there, a bit red and yellow. Sharpening, and I think it has also struggles a little bit with maybe a little bit with noise that I have to get away with. It's sharpening things up a little bit there. It's not too much sharpening up there, so this is okay. The face color is a bit weird looking, it's a bit flat looking there as well. So yeah, not my favorite, the Xiaomi 14. And the Xperia 1 Mark 5. And I think the Xperia 1 Mark 5, most natural skin color, even though I think it's a bit of a fake skin color in this regard, because I think my face is a bit warmer and not this like pale looking, pinkish almost kind of looking face. But I like overall the sharpness the best there. The contrast is okay here in this case. It's a bit too contrasty for my liking, but like I said, it is most close to a DSLM when you just use a video mode there in its default settings. So yeah, this is quite good. And yeah, then last but not least, I didn't take a one with the Fuji X70 battery then empty, but here with the Magic 5 Pro Classic. And here, even though it's a most ideal situation for the Magic 5 Pro, and I think it did a good job with this like not so contrasty kind of look, and the face color I think is also okay. Here's where I noticed that I think it's overdoing a little bit with the sharpness there. It is not as sharp as the Vivo and the Find X7 Ultra for sure, but it's also not as soft as the Sony. So I would like maybe a little bit the softness of the Sony there for it to be a bit better. And also like sometimes a bit weird with the colors there, but it keeps the shadows in there. And yeah, what do you think? Which one is the one you like the most? So these are my impressions when it comes to taking them out of the box and directly shooting with them in different scenarios. So which one is the overall winner in your opinion? Write it down in the comments section. When you want to get the best out of your smartphone video footage with the default camera application, you have to check also the bitrate that those can offer you in the default camera application. Of course, you can always use a third-party camera application, even shoot raw video with motion cam, for example, on most of the camera smartphones. But let's put this aside and let's just talk about the default camera application, because this is the one, to be honest, most people use and the one that is most optimized for your smartphone as well. So what kind of bit rates do they offer and what kind of codecs do they offer? I can tell you already most of those offer H.264 and H.265 as codec. This is basically it. And now it becomes very interesting which offers the highest bit rate, which allows you maybe to play a little bit more with the footage and to have higher quality footage. Let's check it out. So let's take a look at the bit rates of the various different camera-centric smartphones, and what you will see here in the properties dialog of those files that I did here, all by the way, H.265 4K 30 frames per second, is a snapshot basically of the average mbit per second, so bit rate that you will get. Average means in this case with the default camera application, what they do is like they said, I want an average rate of this. That can mean I can fluctuate from, I don't know, when I have 50 here, I can fluctuate from 30 or 20 even up to 50, or it can be a bit over 50, like 55 or even 60 if I want to. So this is an average bit rate that you can set there. The Vivo, however, has like a specialty, because this one has like, as you see, is keeping up with all the other ones around 50 mbit per second, so pretty good as an average one. But it also has like a semi-fixed one that you can set in the Pro video mode, which is like 24.8 mbits per second. So this was regarded as a high quality mode that you can set up there. And this is then a fixed rate, so it will keep it roughly around this 24.8, I think, what it set up there. So it is like sometimes it overshoots a little bit, can be 25, sometimes it's like 23, but it's never going under 20 or over 30 or something like this. So keep that in mind. This is the average bitrate that you have here. And quite interesting, the Nubia Z60 Ultra has the highest average bitrate here with 62.5 mbits per second. And I was checking out the video, it keeps it quite well there as well, which is quite interesting that the Nubia has the highest bitrate there. Second highest is the Find X7 Ultra, but not by much. As you can see here, 49 and 50. It's not almost no difference. So basically the Find X7 Ultra, the Xiaomi 14 and the Vivo X100 Pro have the same kind of bit rate, average bit rate around 50. Let's say it like this. And the Magic 5 Pro and Mate X3 also have the same kind of bitrate around like this 40-ish, I would say. So both are like at 37.8 here, which is quite interesting as the average bitrate. So let's say 38 kind of mbits per second. And the Xperia 1 Mark V has probably 42 as an average bitrate, because we have 41.2 here. And yeah, the answers to all questions is the Xperia 1 Mark V is 42 mbits per second bitrate. And also we have a slightly kind of different frames per second. They all say 30 frames per second most of the time. There's just like the Xiaomi that has 30.202 and the Xperia that has 29.97, which is a more cinematic kind of view on this kind of thing. But yeah, this is what you will get out of them. This is like the file sizes as well. As you can see, they're roughly 10 seconds. Some of them overshot a little bit, or some of them a little undershot. And yeah, what do you think about this one here? I'm surprised that the Nubia has the highest average bit rate on their video files. Another thing that I didn't mention, and I want to shortly only mention, is especially if you need this, is when you want to switch between camera lenses, so use not only the main video camera that it automatically chooses for you, but switch between the lenses during recording. Not all smartphones support this. This one supports it tremendously because it has not only support for it in all the camera resolutions that you can record with, so 4K 30 and 60 frames per second. Others, just like for example the Nubia Z60 Ultra, don't offer any possibility to switch the lenses during recording, which is like a huge bummer there. So where this is like the best, the Vivo X100 Pro, I would say, the X7 Ultra comes close in second with the possibility to zoom in there as well. This offers buttons to zoom in, this as well now, but others, just like for example the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, offers a slider and buttons, but only at 4K 30 frames per second. What I really like is the newer phones and updates. The Honor Magic 5 Pro or the Honor Magic series also now has, instead of a slider, button. And here, especially on the Magic 5 Pro, I think in the beginning it was not possible to switch all the lenses in 4K 60, like the ultra wide angle was not supported. Is supported now as well. So if you're interested in this, this is the short result. I'm not focusing at all on this right now. It's not the purpose of this video, just as a short notice if you're interested in this, so that you know. It is also very important to have the right camera application with the right features for starting a good video. And the cool thing is here is I have the Vivo X100 Pro. We go into Pro mode here. When I go into video mode, we have various different settings that we can set up. Like for example, we can set the metering mode, center weighted metering for example, or we can choose average metering, and this average metering will help us with the change of light and so on. We can also have a fixed focus. If we're closing something closed up or something like this, it's not moving, and we don't want the focus to jump out of frame all the time, like I'm focusing here now on this camera here. It makes sense to set a fixed focus. Also, the auto white balance can be set up here. You can see that the Vivo X100 Pro is pretty good equipped here, also with the shutter speed settings that we can set up to a fixed shutter speed of 1/60, for example, when I'm recording at 30 frames per second. And I can set also the ISO, leave it at auto, and then the exposure. Cool thing is we have under settings, you can also enable it, leveler, reminder, and grid lines, as well as the possibility to, let's go back, to see my histogram and audio levels. So I have the possibility to see histogram, and also waveforms are possible here that you can enable in the settings of the Vivo X100 Pro. And then I see my audio level meters here, and what I can do is just tap on it, and then I can set the audio level meter. So this is very, very cool. One thing, however, that is a bit of a downer is when, as soon as I start recording here, you will see that on some other camera applications, when I start recording, I don't have the possibility to change things. But here, the Vivo X100 Pro is so clever that it allows me to change the shutter speed even while I'm recording, which is quite nice. And also it allows me to change the volume if I want to of the microphone, or the metering, or the ISO, or whatever I want to set up. Even the focus, if I'm autofocus and I'm, damn, I want to focus something close, so let's go into manual focus. So it's possible to do so with the Vivo X100 Pro, also during recording in video mode, which is quite cool. Also, the flashlight can be turned on and off, which is quite nice. Shutter speed will be then set to auto, but at least this is working, which is a very, very nice addition. If I don't want this because it's distracting when I'm recording, I have this little icon there on the top left. I can just simply turn everything off, and then I just have this the button to stop recording, basically, nothing else. So very, very good implementation done here by Vivo. How do other cameras do this? For example, Sony has a Video Pro app that allows us to set almost everything that we saw on the Vivo as well. It's a different user interface. So we have the possibility to click on our audio levels and then set our input and output volumes here with numbers, which I also like. a little bit more than even the one that we have on Vivo, because on Vivo you just have to guess and you cannot always like on every take have the same kind of number dialed in for your sound. But here you can set up the right number for your microphone even if you're using different microphones, which is quite nice as well. So I have the possibility to do this here. Then of course I have the autofocus but also manual focus slider here, which is a little bit more intuitive. You see I have focus peaking enabled, also an option that we have on the Vivo X100 Pro. I can switch between lenses here if I want to, so I can go to the 24mm lens here, which is also nice. And when I have seamless zoom enabled, that I can enable here, it will of course then zoom in and out just like on the Vivo. So this is possible as well, which is quite nice. The cool thing here is I also see a histogram, which is very, very nice, and all my essential settings, like for example shutter speed and ISO, auto exposure compensation and white balance. What I can do, of course, if I want to change the shutter speed, I just press here. I can change the shutter speed, for example, to 1/60th of a second. Cool thing here is, even when I'm recording like 24 frames per second, I have 1/48th of a second that I can set up here instead of 1/50th, which is like not very accurate if you want to follow the 180-degree rule. The cool thing is, if you don't like the shutter speed here, what you can do is, and this is one of the only smartphones that I know that has the possibility, is to change this to shutter degree instead of shutter speed. Let me check. Auto ISO limit. So it's possible to change it here in the settings as well, to use shutter degrees, like 180-degree rule, for example. I can set it up here by just setting up degrees instead of shutter speed. Maybe it's like in the menu itself. I don't know. Anyway, you can set it up there in the settings somewhere that it will use instead of where is it, shutter speed? Number 2 here, shutter speed, that it will use the degrees instead of like the shutter speed actually. So this is possible as well. Then we have some other settings like product showcase that we can turn on and off. We have some other settings like here, the frames per second that we can turn on and off, the frame rate, as well as the video resolution. And a cool thing is here about the Xperia, if I start recording, I have almost all the other features as well. Like if I want to change the shutter speed here, I can tap on the shutter speed and change it to 1/60th here on the fly, as you can see, without any issues. The same goes for auto exposure or ISO, such things. And even the microphone levels can be adjusted on the fly. If I don't like it to change at all, what I can do is like go on the lock button and then it will be locked and all the controls are locked in this case. The cool thing here is that all the controls, as you can see, are on the right side. So if I don't want to use my left hand, I can just use it with one hand. And if I have them unlocked there, I can just simply use everything with one hand here and control everything, like going, zooming in, such things, it's doing it automatically. And also the shutter speed, you think, you have to press that. No, you don't have to press. You can just go into the menu and then change settings here if you want to. Shutter speed, ISO, and other things. So it's all super, super optimized for one-handed use, which is quite well done by Sony here. And if you don't like all the controls, you can press the display button and then all the display stuff is gone. This here will be there still. There's Sony like utilizing its 21:9 aspect ratio, because we have the whole screen here. This is 16:9 video that we are recording. And this here, because we have 21:9 aspect ratio on the display, it's like an area that would be usually black. And so it has all the controls in here. And if you don't want the controls, you can just lock them. This is, like I said, possible here as well. And you can just go to the display options to enable everything again. So also a very, very advanced Video Pro, like the name says, professional video app here. This is not the only professional video app, because Sony has another one called Cinema Pro and Cinematography Pro actually. And as you see, it's the first time that I'm launching it, at least on this device. And did something wrong, allow all, so now it will work out. And the cool thing is that it has also all the features and a little bit more even. As you can see here, I can press here, I can change the volume levels. This one has, like, however, not so much optimized for one-handed use. Yes, I have all the possibilities here, but when I start recording things, like for example, what I don't have is all the controls that I want to change. As you can see, I cannot change I can change the ISO, I can change peaking, turn it on and off. And I can change the focus. That's basically it. So there's nothing else that I can change. Audio level meters I also cannot change. So it's a bit of a limited app. There's a cinematography app. It's like for a specific use case that Sony has this. It's nice to have this like a bit more limited option. If you have everything set up the way you want and you know exactly what you want, then you can use it. But if you want to change stuff on the fly, the Video Pro app is, I think, superior than the Cinematography Pro app here, at least on the Xperia devices. Other devices are doing a little bit weird and other things. Let's check out another device. So here I have the Xiaomi 14 Pro. It doesn't matter if 14 Pro or 14, or I think even the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Maybe they have a bit of a software revision there, but let's check out the camera app here. And we have a normal video mode that can set up all the stuff that we want. We have a movie mode, which is not really 21:9. It's just cropping in a little bit there and adding black bars. And we have a Pro mode also for video. And on first glance, we have all the same settings as we have on the other devices. So we have audio level meters, but when I tap on this, you can see nothing really happens. So we don't have the control of how much volume we get in this. We can set up 4K, we can set up the different frame rates here. 4K 30 would be nice. We can set up the f-stop number, which is cool on this device because we have a variable aperture that we can set up here on the main camera sensor, which is quite nice. And then we have the shutter speed that we can set up to whatever we like to have. We have this like very round and very clicky tactile kind of feel. I like this very, very much, this tactile feel. So you know exactly when you logged into a certain shutter speed, which is quite nice. We have autofocus here with also, I think there should be some peaking option available. I don't see it right now. And we have the possibility to also set like a Kelvin auto white balance here if you want to. And auto exposure compensation, we can switch between the lenses if we want to, which is quite nice. But see what happens when I just hit record here. You will see, yes, we still have the option to set up various different things. We see here also the audio levels still, and we still have the possibility to set up certain things. But what we notice immediately is not everything can be set up. Like for example, the aperture I cannot change on the fly anymore. I can change the shutter speed to whatever I like to, which is still nice. And I can set the ISO to whatever I like to, exposure compensation, and I can not zoom in or out, which is not nice. So I cannot go to the ultra wide angle here in the manual mode, which is possible on Sony, which is possible on the Vivo, for example. So there are a little bit of limitations. We can take screenshots here, which is nice. It's not screenshots, actually photos from the video, but I think it's doing screenshots because the quality is not so good. And what we can set up here is like markers. This is something unique. So if you have like a take done or you're switching to another part of the video, you can set markers, and those markers can be then seen on certain applications, certain video editors and so on. So this is nice indeed. But yeah, audio settings here, we can remove all the settings if you want to, which is nice and possible there as well. But audio volume level meter cannot be set here, and some limitations there when recording in Pro mode. Talking about camera smartphones that have the ability to change the aperture, I have my Huawei Mate X3 Pro here, and here the cool thing is, even when I'm in Video Pro mode here, I can change all the stuff, white balance again, I can choose whatever I like to have here, even custom white balance, and then can dial in the Kelvin numbers, autofocus, EV, shutter speed here, I can set it up to whatever I like to. Even when I'm recording, as you can see, I can change it on the fly without any issues. It's working pretty nicely. Autofocus I can I have here, but here I have shutter, not shutter, the aperture I can change. So I can change the aperture on the fly, as you see, which is quite nice. Let me maybe show it to you by changing it. So you see how the shutter is opening, the aperture is opening and closing. So I can do even this during recording, which is quite a nice feature and an advantage over the Xiaomi 14 Pro. Here I can set up the ISO during recording, which is pretty nice. But what you miss here completely are controls for audio. So we don't have any audio control possibility, which you can turn on the light if you want to, if you need to during recording even, which is possible. We can switch between the lenses, which is nice. But then we will tell you, of course, yeah, you cannot change the aperture, of course, of the other lenses because they don't have a variable aperture there. But I also don't see a button to, yeah, just get rid of those options here that you see on screen, which is a bit of weird. And yeah, audio level meters cannot be controlled here, and I don't see even a way to show them or even show a histogram, which is also a little bit of a limitation. Now we go to another phone that has even more limitations. And this is this baby here, the Find X7 Ultra, very, very good camera phone, I would say, but it is limited in terms of software. When we go in here, when we go to video mode, we have all the video features there as well. We have a master mode, but this master mode is only for photography. There's no videography mode there for this at all, which is like a little bit of a bummer. What we can go to is under more, and then we have a movie mode. And this movie mode allows us certain settings to be set. But as you can see here, the movie mode is fixed to 21:9 aspect ratio. You can switch between all lenses, and we have the possibility to set like the auto white balance. You can see we can set a Kelvin number here to whatever we want to have. The white balance, actually, we can set the focus to whatever we want to have, or automatic focus, EV, shutter speed control we also have, as well as ISO. We have a histogram there as well. We don't have any audio level meters, and you can see the only thing that I can turn on is histogram and grid. Don't have any other options there. I can hide every setting, but the weird thing is when I hit record button, you will see that most of the options disappear. So this is maybe a little bit of a bummer. You still can set up the shutter speed here, and sadly I don't get nice vibration feedback. It makes maybe sense during recording because you don't want to have the vibrations go into the video, but I would like still to have like a bit of a clicky feel there, because they have a good vibration motor that would be able to do this. So 1/60th of a second I can set up here. I can choose the focus point, which is nice as well, but I don't have the option to see any audio volume meter. And yeah, you see some of the things are a little bit limited in this regard. I can just turn this off as well if I want to, or turn it on again, but you see some of the settings are just disappearing. Then I think the last phone that I will show you right now is the Nubia Z60 Ultra, that has very good, nice cameras, and this one has also a pro video mode and all the settings that you need to have. We have stabilization, we have 4K that we can set up, we can turn on the flashlight here, we can lock all settings so it will hide everything there, which is quite nice, but we don't have any histogram here. We can also not turn it on. We have focus peaking and we have a grid that we can have here, but we also don't have any audio level meters or such things. Cool thing is, however, you can choose like a lens that you want to record with. We have autofocus lock that we can turn on and off, auto exposure lock, and white balance lock, which is also quite nice, especially for videography if you don't want to change it. We can also enable those settings when recording. So during recording I can change, for example, the ISO, I can change the AF, EV, and the shutter speed, which is I think most important there. And you can see also I not only have the possibility to change the shutter speed here to 1/60th, I also have some like combined options like white balance. I can choose whatever I like to have here. Color temperature I can choose, so we have two sliders here, and Kelvin temperatures that I can choose, which is also very, very handy. If I click on shutter speed, you will see shutter speed, ISO, autofocus with numbers, which is quite nice, because then I can always set up the right autofocus that I had before, and not right autofocus, the right focus distance that I had set before, and can write down numbers, and which is quite nice to have. It reminds me of a lens where you can really twist and turn it to your liking, and you have some markings there as well, which is very, very good. Only thing that is a bit bad, I cannot switch lenses, because this is a limitation of Nubia in general, but I have the possibility to pause the video, which is quite nice. Even in pro video mode I can pause the video, not only in the normal mode, normal video mode. So these are also some nice options there, but yeah, audio volume meter control would be very nice, and some other options there. And yeah, one thing that I forgot to show you, let me show it to you. When we're talking about audio level meters on the Vivo X100 Pro that I have here, where I turn it on, is actually we have the possibility to choose a microphone. So this is very, very nice. So we can like go in here and choose like phone microphone. If you have like something plugged in via USB-C, we can choose it. But also if we have attached a microphone or headset via Bluetooth, we can choose the Bluetooth one to use here as microphone, which is quite a cool option, that even if I have something plugged in, I can just choose another microphone here. This is sadly not possible to change on the fly. So if I record here, you see the menu is gone, but at least before before I record, I have the possibility to choose my Bluetooth microphone for it to work. And by now you're probably asking yourself two questions. First of all, why don't you have any vlogging content and stabilization tests? And second of all, why is there no iPhone in your comparison? And the second one I can easily answer because I don't have a new enough iPhone to do this test with, because the iPhone XS probably wouldn't be a fair fight, or the iPhone SE 2 or 2020 wouldn't be a fair fight. So I just leave out the iPhones for now, but you see my rating for the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where I think it's doing a quite good job there, also in terms of colors, but it's leaning towards the warmer kind of side. So when you have to compare them with all those different cameras also in their automatic mode, they're probably ranked there more amongst the best, but with a bit of a warmish kind of color tone and a bit of sharpness that they apply for sure as well. Then the second question, why there's no vlogging content and stabilization tests? Simply because this video is very long already, and all of them, I can say happily, all of them have good stabilization. So if you want to use them handheld, like I'm using this phone here right now for vlogging, no issues at all. They have good stabilization. They have nuances and differences. So like, for example, one might be a little bit more wobbly in certain situations than the other one. But as long as you have good light, there's absolutely almost no difference between them. And yes, you can show up the difference between them, but the difference is not important in this regard, because more important are color, sharpness, and the overall feeling that you get. And another one very interesting point, probably the audio quality, because a good microphone is also important, and the possibility to record good audio with those smartphones. And I have to say, with one exception, you have perfect mics with external mic support on all of them, and that's the Xiaomi 14 series, or Xiaomi series in general, Xiaomi 14, 13. There's a bug with this one. It has this noise filter or voice filter turned on, or wind filter, whatever it is, turned on all the time. Either I did already a video about it, or we do release a video about it where we'll show you and demonstrate it to you, and hopefully Xiaomi can fix this. Otherwise, all the other ones work fine with external wireless microphones or wired microphones that use USB Type-C, and you get good audio quality out of this. And you just need a good microphone then for this. And I did already microphone tests, so if you're interested in this, you can just watch my in my channel, search for those microphones tests, TechView or something like this, and you will see lots and lots of mics that are tested there, and also the different phones. If you are interested how they perform with the mics, I usually have an external mic plugged into the phones, and you can take a look at there as well. So these are the most asked questions probably about those phones. So let's go and come to the conclusion. So what is now my conclusion? Having all those smartphones at my disposal, which one I would choose for video making? Like I divided this video already in this fully automatic, quick, spontaneous, take a video quickly mode, and the one where I have more time, like with these kinds of shots here, I would like to divide it as well a little bit. My favorites are definitely, and this is what I had always the feeling with, I had more pleasure also shooting with videos, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. Not only because the default look looks very, very good, but because also we have a headphone jack that we can use as mic jack as well, which is quite handy. It has the dedicated shutter button, which I really like. It has this nice case that gives you a little bit grip at least there, which is quite useful as well. And because I like the Video Pro app and the possibility to dial in certain things. And on top of this, there's also the vlogging grip that you can use with this one, which is quite nice as well. So this is my personal favorite, I have to say. But I was quite surprised by how well the Honor Magic series, or the flagship series, with their classic LUT was performing, and so much, even though so much, that I'm really thinking, because you get this more slightly cinematic kind of look that you usually get only from real DSLMs, that I'm thinking of using this more and more to do my videos eventually. But those are my two favorites for sure. in the long run. And then it comes to other devices as well. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra unfortunately doesn't have a pro video mode. Yes, we have a movie mode, but it's a bit softer there as well, but it's very, very limited. I don't like to use it. Yes, in a pinch I can use the video mode for sure as well, but you get the typical smartphone, a little bit over sharpened kind of look, but now with a large kind of sensor, 1-inch type sensor, and I think they got the colors mostly right there. But I don't like to use it so much for video, I have to say. I like the Nubia Z60 Ultra, despite the fact this one here is not as good in colors, a bit overexposed most of the time. What I like about this one here, if I think you get it right with the colors, is first of all two things. Vlogging with this is a beast because the 18mm and you get a very, very wide field of view. If you want to show certain things about your surroundings, this is, I think, very, very powerful in this regard. Yes, you have to play a little bit with the EV there, but this I could live with. It's also very good for close-up shots with a 35mm. So if you want to do product shots or such things, this here is quite extraordinary when it comes to close-up shots with a 35mm, also the bokeh that you will get there. So I like this very much about this possibility alone there. The zoom lens I rarely use, so don't think about this one. And I was not talking even about the various different lenses and lens systems that you have on those, because I was just mainly focusing on one, the main camera sensor that I will use on all of them. And here the main video camera sensor is the ultra wide angle. So this one I will not completely rule out, but this is more like I vlog, and this is primarily like photo camera and street photography camera, I would say, and you can do a vlog and nice videos with this, talking about your street photography, for example. But when it comes to like more things where I have to think about stuff, I would use the 35mm with the Pro mode, maybe even manual focus there. It's also very fine and a good kind of all-rounder tool still, but it's not as good as those two for sure. Then the ones that I'm slightly bit disappointed about are the Xiaomi 14 series or 13 series, mainly because of the bug with the microphone and a little bit slightly over sharpened kind of look. Sometimes I get the colors wrong there as well. But it's a solid performer nevertheless. It's a solid performer, has a pro video mode. You can fix a lot of things there as well, which I really like. Then the most disappointed in terms of automatic mode is the Vivo X100 Pro. But as much as I'm disappointed at the automatic mode, I'm impressed by the manual mode, the pro mode that you have here in terms of video. It's very close, maybe sometimes even overpassing the Sony Xperia in this regard. So if the Vivo would fix the automatic mode and make it more natural, or have some kind of cinematic kind of filter that you can choose there, or even LUTs that we have on the Magic 5 Pro, because its default mode is also horrible, very, very close to the Huawei, even worse than the Huawei automatic mode, I would say. And I don't even have the Huawei here because I'm ruling it out completely for my videos, and I'm using Huawei devices as main devices for several years, also for recording lots and lots of videos, but I'm ruling them out completely because of the color issues, the smartphone-y kind of look, and yeah, they're solid performer. All of them are very, very good, but those are in another league here in this regard. And I think Xiaomi and Vivo and Oppo and Sony and Honor even surpassed Huawei in terms of video recording capabilities there, especially in terms of colors. So the Vivo X100 Pro, like I said, it's a mixed bag. Automatic, it looks horrible. Really have to say it looks horrible. With Pro mode, it looks okay. You cannot get this too contrasty look out of it though. You can fix the a little bit too much sharpening applied there. It's also not 100% sure that it's fixed with the Pro mode there, but at least you can fix the colors there, and then it looks very good because it has a very sharp lens system and it's a very, very good camera and has tons of features. So for the features alone, I would take it, but really, Vivo, I hope you can improve a little bit upon the video side of things there. Allow us, maybe, we have so many features already, allow us maybe to set like a different profile where we, with the default profile, where we can tweak the contrast of your image a little bit, or give us like movie LUTs that we can apply also for 4K recording. That would be very, very awesome there for the Vivo X100 Pro. This is my ranking. This is a very personal ranking list there, and you can see my ranking list, of course, as well there, where I have a bit more neutral, try to also, it's very subjective kind of view on the things there. But what is your opinion? What is your impression? Disclaimer, I have this here is the Chinese device. The Oppo is a Chinese device, so maybe with different firmware, with a global firmware, here's no global firmware well available, but with the Vivo, maybe with a more global firmware, it might behave differently in terms of camera performance there, especially when it comes to over sharpening and the colors there. But this is something that I cannot tell you right now. And also disclaimer, this is recorded in February 2024, so with firmware updates, especially Vivo is very good in firmware updates. They might have improved a lot there already, and all the other ones maybe as well, slightly. So what do you think about this long video about all those camera smartphones and their video performance? Write it down in the comment section. If you have some further questions, you can write them down there as well. As I said, I have done lots and lots of videos also regarding microphones and regarding camera comparisons, where I also compare them at night time, for example. If this is something that triggers you a little bit because you want to do vlogs in the night, then this might be very interesting as well. This is a very, very long video already. I put a lot of effort in there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like and subscribe, and tell your friends about my channel if they're interested in this as well. You can become a channel member as well. You can pay a little bit there. You get early access to videos there before all the other people, and if you get a premium tier channel member, you get even the chance. Some of those phones I'm keeping, but others I'm just selling off, and to be the first one to get like maybe also a good deal out of those there slightly used, tested devices here from a hopefully trusty YouTuber. So what do you think about this camera test? Write it down in the comment section. Until the next time, bye.